in a place to be attacked like this. He's going from worship to his promise. But the Bible says he falls among thieves. He falls among thieves. And so I know for some of you in here, you've fallen among thieves. The Bible says in the book of John 10, chapter 10, that the thief cometh but to steal, kill, and to destroy. And so why would the devil hang out in his own territory? The devil is trying to find a place to go where worshipers live, because he's not trying to discourage his people. He's trying to discourage you. So why do you think that while you're going from worship to your promise, that you're not going to face some thieves along the way? God is saying today, you've been looking at your life and you've been trying to figure out, how is 09 so hellish for me, God? Why is it when I said 09 was the year I was getting closer to you, everything seemed to fall apart and to come against me? This is the year that I promised God I would be close to him. This is the year I said I would fast every month. This is the year I told God I was going to be something better than I was in 08. But as soon as I made the decision, the devil showed up. And as long as he's coming in the midst of whatever it is I'm doing for God, you ought to understand that God has got you in a place where you're walking from worship to your promise. And as long as you're walking from worship to your promise, expect to see the devil on the way, because he's not interested in discouraging him, but he's trying to discourage you. Because as long as you've got a promise that you're pressing for, it's impossible for the devil to ignore you. He has to find a way to get under your skin. He's got to find a way to send people into your life to discourage you. He's got to find a way to get phony people to come into your company, because as long as you've got phony people following you, it's impossible to make it to your promise. So get rid of the distractions that are coming in the pathway from Jerusalem to Jericho, because God says as long as you're walking from worship to your promise, expect to see the devil break loose and find a way to discourage you in your season of faithfulness unto him. He's going from his worship into his promise, and now the devil is having his way. And now the question is, God, if you're as good as you are, in the season where I told you that I'm promising you to get better, why would you let the devil have his way? Why would you let him come into my life and tear my family to pieces? Why would you let him take away my marriage the way you took it from me? Why would you let him let this man walk out of my life? Why would you let this woman come into my life and manipulate me? God, in my season where I told you I would be faithful unto you, why is it I'm facing the most hell in my life? And God says, because you're in the season of transition. The season of transition. You're going from blessed to blessed even more. And God is showing you today that you're shifting. And as long as you're shifting, you're going to walk into something that does not agree with your promise. The devil is loose today. And he's loose not because you're somebody that's unimportant to him, but he's only fighting those who've got a promise in their path. I got a promise to be greater this year. I got a promise that God was going to bless me above and beyond what I could ask, think, or imagine. I got a promise this year that God was opening up a ministry that would change lives. I got a promise this year that God was going to give me the car that was going to be my dream car. I got a promise this year that when I walked through the valley in the shadows of death, I would fear no evil that came against me. And God is saying today, you were in transition to get to where you needed to be, but I had to let the enemy have his way. And so God gave me a powerful revelation. He says, this man is going from Jerusalem to Jericho, but he's traveling Jerusalem to Jericho by himself. And so I got to let some of you in here know who are alone in your worship, that God has set you up and he's put you by yourself. Because when you're in worship, worship is one of the loneliest seasons of your life. God says it's impossible for me to get close to you when everybody's connected to you emotionally. So when you start your worshiping, you've got to be willing to let some folk go who did not have the same visions you have. God says when you started worshiping, you realized that demons and devils were real, and that haters and haterettes were real, and that everybody who stepped into your corner was not for you. And so God is saying today, you were in a season of transition as you walk through this valley to get to Jerusalem, as you walk to get to Jericho. And And God says, after you ask the question, why would you let him have his way? Why would you let him go crazy in my life, God? And God says, there's still another issue in the text. There's still another issue in the text, because this man is attacked. And as he is attacked, the Bible shows us, and I did a little research on this one. As he's going through, this is not just an unknown passageway, but this is a very popular way to go to get to Jericho. Watch this. So he's worshiping, and he's doing the same thing that other people have done to get their promise. But as he's going through Jerusalem to get to Jericho, the Bible says that he fell among the thieves. And as he falls among the thieves, he's alone. And as he's alone, we now find out that there's an issue with the way that he falls into the lap of the thieves. And after he falls into the lap of the thieves, the Bible says that they wounded him, they broke him, they abused him, and then they left him for dead. And God is saying today, while you were in your season of transition, there were some things on you that the devil knew he tried to steal from you. He knew that if he could get his hands on the things that were valuable in you, that you stop in your tracks. God understood one thing about your season, that your season held a lot of valuable things on the inside. And God says the enemy is not interested in things that don't have value. He's not interested in things that don't have something to walk with. So how did the thieves know that this man